Virginia governor's race. Now I'm going to be back with another video after 5 days without posting. But let's get right into the video. I am currently doing the Virginia governor's race, and the race will be in November 2nd, and I will not be live streaming the race. However, I will be covering the results shortly after, so stay tuned for that. Regardless, if we look at the results in the polling, it looks like the race has significantly tightened since it was first announced at 6.8 points, then up to 8 points, and slowly, bit by bit, the margin starts to tighten until today, where Youngkin and McConnell basically tied in the polling averages. And this comes as a result of Fox News' poll and coefficient. Now let me give you guys some of the background information, because many of you may not really know about this race. Basically, in the year that the president is inaugurated, Virginia and New Jersey will hold their governor elections. This will be considered as a referendum on the president that is currently sitting in office. You can see that Biden did win the state of Virginia by 10 points. I can show you the results. In the 2020 Senate race, Mark Warner defeated Gade by a margin very large, by like 12 points in this race, and he did absolutely phenomenal in a lot of regions. If we look at the presidential results, Joe Biden won the state by 10 points. For reference, that was more than Donald Trump's victory in Alaska percentage-wise, which is super shocking. If we look at these results, however, if we look at Fox News and coefficient is a Republican internal, so do take that in a grain of salt. However, Fox News is a polling company you should, I think, more or less likely to trust, as it is rated A. Trafalgar Group is an internal, so I won't trust that. But Fox News basically gave McConnell a 5-point lead, and if we look at even before that, I believe if we look at the Fox News poll, a 4-point lead, a 5-point lead, and then suddenly it dropped to a Youngkin +8 result. The registered voters are more inaccurate than the likely voters, as registered voters often skew to the Democrats. What the pattern we've seen on polling is that Democrats tend to underperform polling in their states that they tend to win, while Republicans underperform polling compared to results in states that they win. However, that does not mean that the Democrats are completely free. Even if this race is this close, even if McConnell wins by 2 points or so, that would be very concerning for Democrats, especially because Biden won the state by 10 points. And you need to realize that in 2013, McConnell was able to defeat the Republican to break history. He's the first candidate that isn't in the sitting president's party to win the state of Virginia for a very, very long time, which is very concerning for the Democrats, as they might lose this race as well. Now, McConnell is a former governor in the state, and they cannot run for consecutive terms. They can run for 2, 3, whatever terms. However, they cannot run consecutively. McConnell is back from his 2013 to 2017 governor's experience to try and win the governors in 2021. It really just depends on whether or not he will win this race. This is the county map I made just recently, and you can see that it is much different compared to the 2020 actual election. If we look at this map here, we can zoom into some key counties that I often refer to. For example, Stafford County, if that county's blue, it's basically done for the Republicans. If we look at the current map, Stafford County is going to the Republicans by 15 points, which is super shocking. If we zoom down to the Virginia Beach area, you can see that Joe Biden won Chesapeake and Virginia Beach. Both of those counties need to go red for a Glenn Youngkin victory, and in my prediction, both of those counties are red. Going to another key county, the county of Chesterfield, with over 200,000 votes in the 2020 presidential election, this county went to Joe Biden by just over 5 points. I rate it as a 10-point victory for Glenn Youngkin. However, these are areas that he is expected to overperform heavily. In some counties, such as these, he's not expected to overperform close to that margin. He's only expected to overperform by about a point or so, which leads us to the most important 3 counties, or let's put it 2. First, Fairfax. Biden netted 251,000 votes in this county. Over that, indeed, which was close to his margin of victory, honestly. He won the state by about 450,000 votes. He won the county of Fairfax, for reference, for 250,000. If we compare it to these 2 counties, you can see that Biden if these areas were taken off the mix, Biden would have lost the state, which is just the most important thing you need to keep in mind with. Democrats really need to rely on the county of Fairfax. That's Loudoun and Prince William, the 2 most important counties for 2020. The 2022 governor's race. If you look at these counties, they shifted 20 points to the Republicans. Again, this will be very, very bad news for the Democrats if they actually want to win this race. However, Bush won those 2 Loudoun and Prince William in both of their elections, but he also won the state overall. This is actually my prediction. You see that for 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. You can see that I predict that the Republicans will win very, very narrowly. Right now, I'm rating this race as a toss-up, but if I have to rate it, I'm going to rate it as total Republican. Now, again, polling is not the most accurate, but if we look at the trends and just look at this graph here, you can see that McConnell is really facing a lot of trouble. Youngkin is blamed for a few mishandlings in his speeches, for example, calling Asians white and basically announcing to some reporters that he is pro-banning abortion legally. But it looks like that the referendum on Biden is just too large. If we go to the Biden approval rating, you can see that Biden is very much net disapproved of. The only approval rating poll that's taken recently that has Biden up is Morning Consult, which is a Democratic poll itself. That's not a Democratic internal at all. However, this is a very much liberal pollster, and I will take this with a grain of salt. The other race that was considered competitive was by a poll that was not even rated as of all, and it's A, so I don't know what that means. And honestly, it's basically adults, but they're not even registered to vote. And you can see that adults tend to skew toward the Democrats more than they actually should. If we look at the favorability rating of the president, this is Donald Trump's favorability. You can see that Trump's is definitely not much better. However, you have to realize is that Trump won the election with a net favorability rating in 2016, negative 15 points. So, this is honestly not very surprising. Honestly speaking, the results are actually seeming to bounce even worse for the former president. However, this is likely not going to be a referendum for the president. Now, the last time there was a poll that said that Trump was seen as favorable was a Harris poll. However, this is basically done for whatever reason, and honestly, this should not be taken into consideration after all. But again, Biden's approval rating is just not good. If we go to Google and search Biden approval, and then type in 538. You can just put 538. If you look at it, it's basically spreading at very high rates. I thought Biden was going to bounce up a little bit, and for a brief period of time, it looked like that might be the case. However, it looks like it has just completely skyrocketed for the disapproval. Therefore, I do believe that the Democrats will lose this race by a very, very narrow margin as it stands today. I will not be making election night, but we'll be suggesting someone's election night in the description, so be sure to check that out. But more importantly, you can see that there's a subscribe button on the screen, so be sure to click that and watch more of my videos about the Virginia early voting and some other interesting stuff. So be sure to check that out, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow, and bye.